I want to bring in Misty Marris once again. Misty, I am digesting the 16 pages of the indictment in front of me, and I'm also looking at DA Alvin Bragg's statement from moments ago, the catch and kill. I'm asking legally, do you see a smoking gun here? Help me read between the lines. Did we learn anything new in the charges that have been laid out, the felony charges, 34 of which involve falsifying business records?
Marni, we didn't really learn anything new. In fact, the legal theory that you and I have been talking about for the past couple of weeks actually came to fruition. This all relates to payments made to Stormy Daniels. She's not named directly, but we can opine as to who the playmate is, who the porn star is, and the playmate, Karen McDougal. Those two payments, something that we were aware of. That's what's being called the catch and kill. There was, and I'm scrolling through as well, something about another payment made to a doorman relating to some other type of impropriety. All of those were what we anticipated would be the basis for these falsified business records. Remember, as we've discussed, the payments themselves, those are not illegal. Those contracts entered into, those are not illegal. It's just whether or not the business records relating to those payments were falsified for the purpose of covering up another crime. What's the other crime? Well, this indictment says the other crime is violations of both New York and federal campaign finance laws. This is what we've thought the whole time. There's a lot of questions about whether or not these misdemeanor falsifying business records charges can be bootstrapped to a federal campaign finance charge in order to reach a felony charge in New York State. Remember, we're in state court, not federal court. Now, as far as New York campaign finance violations, well, he was running for a federal office, so there's going to be legal challenges on all of that front. And then go back to what we talked about before. This is a state of mind crime now. This is what we know. If you get past all of the legal challenges that exist on motion to dismiss, federal preemption, statute of limitations, now we have to look into Donald Trump's mind and say, did he falsify these records for the purpose of covering up a campaign finance violation? Or was it another business decision because he's married? A whole other litany of reasons that somebody could enter into these agreements and make these payments. So really, really tough case here for prosecutors and a case of first impression as far as the legal theory is concerned.
So what are the menu options for the defense strategy moving forward, given what we now know?
I think you're going to see scorched earth motions to dismiss. No stone left unturned. We now know that there is a schedule in place. We heard from the excellent NewsNation reporting that August 8th, that's when we're going to see motions on the defense end. The prosecution can respond by September 19th. We're going to see them go after statute of limitations. Remember, even felony statute of limitations is 5 years. Prosecution has several theories there was called New York pause. That was a pause in statute of limitations because of COVID. Whether or not Donald Trump was actually in the state at the time. He enjoyed immunity as president. All of these are going to be issues, and there's defenses to those as well. Then we're going to see them attack every charge and say that there's not enough evidence to prove this case, that these should be thrown out on their face. And then we're going to see a specific argument made against the legal theory of a falsified business records charge for a misdemeanor linked to potential federal campaign finance charges, whether or not that can even pass muster on a New York State theory of law. All of those are going to be very novel arguments. It relates to federal preemption arguments, statute of limitations, and a whole other litany of arguments that we'll see come out on motions to dismiss. I think that those papers, they're going to be thorough. They're going to attack everything in this indictment. And we're certainly going to be interested in reading those when they're filed on August 8th.
So ultimately, this indictment, the 34 felony counts, gave the defense team a lot of ammunition moving forward. My question to you, Misty, having argued cases before this judge in New York, how does he proceed?
This judge is by the letter of the law, and he's by the book. In fact, I made a false prediction before because I thought the judge would say it was okay for Donald Trump not to appear at every one of those hearings and motions. It's called presence being waived, and the reporting indicates the judge says, no, you have to be here. So he is really doing everything to a T, by the book, crossing T's, dotting I's. So with respect to these motions, he is a very fair judge. He's going to look at this case from the perspective of what is cognizable under the law. Do these charges pass muster under New York law? There's an element to the falsification of business records that says intent to defraud. This is going to be something that's going to be attacked majorly by the defense, because is there a victim here? Who's being defrauded, right? So these are all novel legal arguments that are going to be raised. And I think this judge is going to really look at this from the perspective of what we lawyers live in, precedent. And what precedent exists? Well, this is a different way of utilizing this particular statute. We have not seen it before. Novel legal argument. So this judge is going to have a lot of scrutiny, I believe. I don't know whether or not it will be dismissed. But remember, this judge isn't going to look at motion to dismiss about credibility issues. That's all for trial. It's just questions of law. Legally, can this case go to a court of law for a jury trial, or does this indictment, is this something that can actually not rise to the level, the facts? Do they support the charges that are in this indictment on this new novel theory? It's going to be really interesting to watch. The folks that are the legal nerds who are into the nitty gritty, I'm one of them, by the way, about these novel types of issues and putting this all together. This is going to be a heyday for legal analysts on this type of case.
Right, and focus on the law, but the wild card in all of this is the defendant is a potential presidential candidate for 2024 and obviously a former president. So I guess the question being, can former President Trump, the defendant in this case, walk and chew gum at the same time? So he's going to be out essentially on the campaign trail. Also, his team defending him in a criminal case with 34 felony counts.
Yeah, Marni. And by the way, other cases, one in Georgia, potential federal charges coming for the confidential records situation. All of this is going to be taken into consideration. And I do think what you just raised, we have a presidential candidate who's going to be out on the campaign trail. Based on reporting that NewsNation has done, it sounds like the judge tried to address that, because we know Donald Trump. He is very vocal on social media. He is very vocal. He's going to be doing he's going to have a rally tonight. So we're going to be hearing from him. But the judge did give him a stark warning. He's not going to have a gag order, which is what we predicted, Marni. You and I spoke about this yesterday. No gag order, but a warning that if something he says creates a violent or civil unrest, that a gag order could be a distinct possibility. So no gag order now, but there's the potential for one. This gives Donald Trump something to chew on as to what he's going to say at this rally, and he doesn't want to toe that line. I'm sure his legal team is telling him, of course, you have a First Amendment right to speak about this. You're innocent until proven guilty. You can proclaim your innocence all you want, but be careful about what you say, because you don't want that gag order potential to violate that because you're on social media and you're on the campaign trail, and then you got another criminal charge coming your way. So a lot of complicated issues with a former president who's actually on the campaign trail, something we have not seen before.
Right. So will the warning stick, or will it go in one ear, out the other, as Judge Andrew Napolitano said of someone he knows very well, the former president, Donald Trump? Will he stick to the script tonight as he addresses the nation? It will be the first time that Americans hear from him after his arraignment, his arrest, his essential booking in New York under these felony counts. There are a lot of questions that remain. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.